Hello everyone and welcome to Saturday Night Music Club number 23, filmed in downtown Scottsdale, Arizona at the Record Room Record Store. As always, a huge thank you goes out to John Rose, the proprietor of the Record Room. So we have a short cast tonight. James, Todd had to leave. He had some drunken escapades going on. Robert is out of town, I think on a safari in the Serengeti. So it's just us four this evening. So as you notice from the title of this video, Better Than the Beatles. Each of us had to bring a record to compare it to of the Beatles catalog that you feel is better than that record. So you'll see, we'll get into that, but we're going to start off with our game show that we pioneered in our last video. So questions all about the Beatles. I'll be asking the questions. These three gentlemen will be providing the answers. If it's a direct question to them and they get it correct, they get 2 points. If they miss it, it goes to the next person. They get the opportunity to get it correct for 1 point. So we're going to start it off with Brent. You ready for your first question?
Ready.
All right, here we go. Which Beatles album features over 50 people on the front cover?
Sgt. Pepper.
Correct. 2 points for Brent.
That's kind of
These are going to vary in all different levels of complexity. All right, Jonathan, you ready? Look at him. He looks a little nervous, but he looks a little cocky. You see it. Typical Salisbury. All right. What was the Beatles' first single?
Oh man.
Shaking All Over.
Is that even?
That's incorrect. Jesse. For 1 point.
Love Me Do.
That is correct for 1 point. Good job, guys. All right, so this goes to, now you get a chance here to get 2 more points, Jesse, since it's your turn.
Yeah.
Here we go. What was the name of the group before calling themselves the Beatles? What was their name right before they called themselves the Beatles?
We still accept Cliff? Wait. The Backbeat Band?
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
Ding, incorrect. Brent.
The Quarrymen.
That is correct for 1 point.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Good work, Brent, and it is now your question.
Nice.
Okay. As much as you can answer this one, we're not asking for an exact name of it, but where was their final public performance? Where was it located?
Johnny Carson's show.
Nope. Jonathan.
It was like a rooftop at Apple headquarters.
That's the exact answer. Yep, the rooftop, and it was on January 30th, 1969. Good job. So that was 1 point, Jonathan, and it's your turn again.
Right.
All right. Who was the original drummer of the Beatles?
Ugh. Yeah.
Take a guess.
Yeah. Move it along. Move it along.
Okay, Jesse.
I can't remember. But no, wait, it was. No, go.
Pete Best.
Brent, bring it. 1
I was
point.
gonna say Pete.
What are the scores right now? What do you got?
I got 4.
Jonathan.
1.
I got 1.
You only got 1? Okay. Whose question is it?
It's mine.
It's Jesse's.
Yeah,
All right. Jesse, what is the official name of the White Album?
The White Album.
Self-titled The Beatles.
That's correct. 1 point for Brent. That's a good question, wasn't it?
That was a good question.
All right.
It's kind of tricky.
All right. So Brent, what is Ringo's real first name?
I really don't remember. Roger.
Okay, Jonathan.
David.
David. Jesse.
John.
You guys are bad on that one. Richard Starkey. All right, that was a good one though. Okay, Jonathan, your turn.
All right.
Who is the Prudence referenced in Dear Prudence?
Yoko.
No. Whoa, Jesse.
What was her name? Ostrude?
Brent.
I don't know.
Prudence Farrow, the sister of Mia Farrow, Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
I think they met her in India when they were on like a retreat. Okay, Jesse, here we go. What non-Beatle played lead guitar on While My Guitar Gently Weeps? Non-Beatle.
Non-Beatle. Clapton.
Say it loud.
Clapton.
Eric Clapton, correct for 2 points, right? All right, how we doing on scores? Who's in the lead?
I got 5.
About 3.
I got 1.
Okay, is yours, Brent?
Yeah, it's mine.
Okay. Listen closely to this one. Which famous guitarist slash musician opened his set with the song Sgt. Pepper's
Jimi
Lonely?
Hendrix.
2 points for Brent. How'd you know that one? Good one.
For someone that
Alright,
hates the
Jonathan.
Beatles.
Yeah.
Which Beatles album is the only Beatles album to feature all songs written by Lennon and McCartney? There's only one Beatles album where they wrote all the songs. Whether or not they were cover songs or Ringo wrote a song or George Harrison, there's only one album that has strictly Lennon and McCartney compositions.
Wow.
Good question, huh?
Beatles for Sale?
That's incorrect. Jesse.
Let it be.
Brent.
Rubber Soul.
Incorrect. A Hard Day's Night. All right, Jesse, here you go. Here's an easy one. What year did the Beatles break up?
1969.
Sports! Sorry.
Brent.
1970.
Correct for 1 point.
Ah, that's not my year.
All right, Brent, that was the last question.
I win!
All right, good work. So what were the final scores?
I got 8.
I got 3.
Got 1.
All right, so we declare Brent the winner of trivia game number 2. We're gonna have to get a little trophy that we pass around each. Okay, so getting back to the better than the Beatles. So as I said in the intro, we picked an album. In my case, I chose Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and then I brought a record that, in my opinion, is better than that record. And that, for me, is The Velvet Underground and Nico, 1967, and I'm comparing it with Sgt. Pepper. So for me, this is a top 10 album of all time for me right here. So I'm stating that this is better than that. So normally we do a 3-point scale for a voting. After they give their discourse on their opinions, the score for this one is whether or not they think that the record I brought is better than the Beatles. So Brent, start it.
Okay, so for people that know me, they know that I'm not a fan of the Beatles. I think they're very overrated. So looking at this Nico Velvet Underground, this record basically was NWA in 1988, but in 1967, versus Charlton Heston in 1988, Fighting the Power. So these two records, this record's timeless. It sounds like it could have been written yesterday. Yeah. This record, you can tell when it was written. So I said yes. That is definitely a better choice of the time.
Lyrically, this album to me is so cutting edge for what else was around that time in the pop music world. I mean, you look at songs like Heroin or All Tomorrow's Parties, Waiting for the Man, just absolutely killer. Incredible album. Jonathan.
Yeah, when it comes to like timeless sounds, Velvet Underground, that's a timeless record, and it's great. It like has like folk elements, disparate like instrumentals type stuff on there. And it's it's really good. It's much better than Sgt. Pepper's.
All right,
Yeah.
so that's 2 yeses. Jesse.
I wrote yes, that I love it, and that only desperate hipster kids would say it's not good so they could sound cool. And then I go on to explain about how when me and Brett were at Zia's and these kids are talking about the Clash Combat Rock not being good.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what were they
It's
buying?
crazy.
What were they buying?
I think they bought Skrillex
Oh, yeah.
and like some other...
You also bought it. That's the night you bought the Yanni DVD, so...
from my mother.
Not true. I saw him watching it one day.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so that was 3 yeses. So, in the Saturday Night Music Club's opinion, this is better than the Beatles. All right, Brent.
All right, so I brought a 1965 record, which essentially started an entire genre. Brought Here Are the Sonics, 1965, and I compared it to Rubber Soul. The reason I brought these two records is they're both rhythm and blues based records. The reason I like this better is these guys did it raw. They did one take type of recordings. They did classic songs and they did their own songs. This was obviously overdubbed. It was overly produced. It's a very different record, but it came out at the same time. At the time, this was obviously very much more influential than this, but looking back on it now, this probably is much more influential than this, just based on the different types of music that are out there.
Jonathan, what's your opinion?
Yeah, the Sonics is a good garage rock romp, and like a couple years ago, I probably would have picked Rubber Soul over the Sonics, you know, because In My Life is just a great song. You know, that's probably the best song off of Rubber Soul. But nowadays, if I was gonna put an album on, if I was just gonna, you know, a record collection to put an album on, I'll probably put on the Sonics over the Beatles just because I've heard so much. So.
All right, so it was better than the Beatles.
Yes.
All right, Jesse.
I like it. It actually reminds me of the time that me and Brink took 1,000 copies of Whipped Cream and Other Delights and put them all over Brett Helm's front yard on a rainy day. and the Sonics were playing in the background.
And there's whipped cream all over, melted whipped cream.
Yeah.
So, better than the Beatles?
Better than the Beatles.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the odd one out here. I appreciate Brent's enthusiasm and love for this record, because I appreciate when someone is incredibly passionate about it. I like that he mentioned Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard in the one song.
Richard Berry, come on.
But for me, it wasn't better than Rubber Soul. It's hard to top In My Life, I think. I think that's just quintessential, and I have some personal attachment and meaning to that song. So for me, it wasn't as...
What if you had no personal attachment? What if you heard both of these for the very first time?
It doesn't, to me, and this is my opinion on this one, it doesn't sound unique enough to beat it out. Like, the thing I like about Rubber Soul versus this one is
the overproduction.
I think the production. I like that there's a bit more diversity in sound.
And they overproduce and stuff. Yeah, no, I get it.
But you know what
I understand.
But it's like if the Velvet Underground, if every song in that sounded like Waiting for the Man.
Here's the thing.
I would get burnt out on it. But this is a touchstone record for you.
This is a music changing record for the entire industry.
But I mean, it's a touchstone record for you personally.
Not me personally. No, I chose this because this record changed music forever and ever and ever. This record led to the Stooges. This record from the Stooges led to other things.
But do you like the influence it had on it more than you actually like the album?
Oh yeah. Because without this, there wouldn't be so much killer stuff out there.
Okay, well that's what I'm kind of thinking about.
That's why I took personal feeling out of all of this. And I looked at it from a point of which record actually made people really gravitate to how they played music, how they made music.
I'm comparing them song by song.
I'm doing full album. So like this album, if this wasn't for this album, there wouldn't be a lot of stuff out there.
Well, no.
That's what I mean. I'm taking the songs
and compiling song for song.
Yeah.
Do those songs all add up to being a better record when I listen to it? And then talked about this. So you got Brent. You got 2 yeses.
1 no.
1 no. And our banner just fell.
Good job, Jonathan.
All right, Jonathan, it's your turn.
All right, so I brought Love Forever Changes, and I put it up against Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour. I don't have it. Forever Changes is the antithesis of Magical Mystery Tour. You know, when you have songs like All You Need Is Love, you have this album, which is a bit cynical. It's a bit about like the dark side of the 60s, when it was just all kind of like positivity and whatnot. They kind of brought that edge to
West Coast Velvet Underground.
Yeah. You know, and I think it's much better. And it's an album that kind of reveals itself upon a few listens. It doesn't reveal itself at first, but I think it's a classic record. It's much better than Magical Mystery Tour.
Jesse.
I wrote Hells Yeah, Kids, You Know You Want Some. I guess I like that.
All right, so Jonathan, you get your first yes there.
All right.
Now I dig Love Forever Changes too. So this is a tough one, but in the U.S., our version of Magical Mystery Tour has Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane on it, which I think are just outstanding. I think Strawberry Fields Forever is such a genius song that alone just tips the scale for me. So as much as I dig that record, it's not better than Magical Mystery Tour for me. And
this is all like poppy, and this is not at all. You have like I Am a Walrus, which is like the edgiest song of this album, but it's like cheesy.
That's what I wrote.
It's not even like It's just the lyrics
It's
are
corny.
it's
corny.
Yeah, it's corny.
Yeah, the way they put things together was good. Yes, there was a lot of Beatles worship by other bands that were doing the things that the Beatles were doing, even though the Beatles took what they were doing from other people. This is a much better psychedelic record. It gets real serious, and it does get very dark, which is so much more fun to listen to for me than something where I'm like, none of this makes any sense.
And it took the critics decades to realize that this was a classic. You know, it wasn't that well received when it first came out.
All of these are classics.
Yeah.
So that takes now Jesse's record. Hit us.
Mine is actually going up against Rubber Soul. It was really hard for me because I do like Beatles, but I ended up going with Rolling Stones, December's Children, and everybody's. There's something about side 2 on this album that I really, really like. It's got Get Off My Cloud, I'm Free, As Tears Go By, which is like kind of huge. There's just something really cool about this record. For me, like the Beatles, it's hard to go up against, which it's not on this album, but songs like Over the Hills, Far Away, or Tomorrow Knows, sorry.
I was saying, Led Zeppelin. How are we getting to Led Zeppelin?
Tomorrow Never Knows, and like songs like Strawberry Fields, but you know, like I said, side 2 and this, like just all the way through. I mean, that would be like, there's no filler. It's just straight through. I really, really enjoyed.
So the Rolling Stones, I like, you know, that's another one. It's a tough call. As Tears Goes By, I think, is incredible. The first 3 songs right in a row are really good, but still, it's a no for me.
He likes to poop on the party.
So Brent.
He's like Desiree.
Yeah, why are you acting like JT?
Why are you acting like a Virgo? Pooping on the party.
All right, Brent.
Look at that shirt.
I said this reminds me of Shadow Mountain.
Circa 65.
I wasn't born in 65, or alive in 65. Circa 1995.
Shadow Mountain.
Shadow Mountain.
1991.
Why does it remind you of that?
It does. I like it better because I like pretty much everything better than the Beatles.
It's Shadow Mountain circa 1991 for me.
I don't even like Boss Gags better than the Beatles.
What? Okay, that's.
Yeah, how many copies of Boz Skaggs in that pink suit do you have?
Yeah.
Seriously, Brent, how many copies do you source for
He's got a
cube for
He's got a cube for Boss Gags and Barbra Streisand.
He totally does. The wet elves. Yeah, you do.
No.
Look at that guilt look on his face. Okay,
Boz
so
Skaggs has no place in anyone's
I'm gonna get
heart.
so much hate on this video. It's not even fun.
Jonathan Stones.
So when you look at these 2 albums, you know, these are both bands that were really good singles, okay?
Yeah. The haircuts and their wardrobe.
No,
you know,
that's sentimental.
This album's going toe to toe. I'd have to say Rubber Soul over the Rolling Stones because they wrote more songs that I enjoy. You know, and if I was gonna put a record on, I'd probably put on Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul from start to finish is great. There's a little bit more filler on this record. You know, they have a few more rock and roll covers that are just okay. You Get Off My Cloud is a great song, but this album has In My Life and Michelle, which are just great. So yeah, sorry, Jesse, I take Rubber Soul.
all right, so
I just unliked you on Facebook.
let's read with no phone. It's like all like
It's mental.
no smartphone even. Okay, so when we tally up the scores, Jesse, you had 2 no's, 1 yes. Jonathan and Brent, because of me, you had 2 yeses and a no, and the Velvet Underground was unanimous, better than the Beatles all the way over there. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to comments. Leave us some feedback. What do you think head-to-head each of these records? Better than the Beatles or not?
And if you have one that's better than the Beatles,
Yeah, list it.
post it.
Yeah, list it. Or you
Yeah,
can
this is the friend zone.
Yeah.
No hate, please.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next month.
Oh yeah.